Greetings and welcome to an all-you-can-geek Gamecast. With us tonight we have Tony Korkanakis,
Hello, hello, hello.
Mike City,
What's up?
and yours truly, Corey, your host with the most.
Oh,
Fine, I was like
Yep.
trying to think of something else, but I couldn't do it. Ahoy! So yeah, we're here with the Gamecast. Jim, obviously, if you haven't heard or seen, he is not joining us just
hold on.
due to other things going on. You know, he's got stuff going on, and so he'll be back next week to talk games, movies, all that stuff. But for tonight, it's the three of us. We're gonna plow through this and talk about what we've been up to, what we've been gaming. Mike, anything new, or you still
I've
plugging away at some Midnight Suns there?
Today apparently it was a very eventful release day for things I was interested in, but I hadn't gotten to anything today yet because as I mentioned, my son has a little bit of a fever, so I haven't had a chance to game at all today. I've been taking care of him. But today is the release of Like a Dragon Ishin, which I'm going to jump right into. Um, I was interested in Atomic Hearts, but apparently it sucks. But that's out on Game Pass today too, as
Oh,
well.
if it's Game Pass, you already paid for it, so.
Yeah, I know, but I've seen some reviews that are pretty dissuading so far. Which is a shame because it looked interesting.
Mm.
And then also I think the Venom DLC for Midnight Suns comes out today as well. But because all of this is today and I haven't gotten to it, I've only really been tooling around with a little bit of Midnight Suns, but also 2K and also going back to actually the wrestling 2K because I've downloaded even more created characters and tweaked them a little bit so I can do a full Avengers versus Justice League in a
Mm.
wrestling game. Yeah,
Nice.
you can put some time in there when you're tweaking those creations.
Hmm.
So just a little nonsense, sort of waiting for this next week. We'll see some new stuff for me for sure, though.
Mm. What was bad that you heard about?
The Atomic Hearts, the I heard that. Well,
I mean, I saw
basically,
like nines and I saw like, also mediocre scores. So I think it's
so
all over the
I
place.
the review from the person I tend to listen. I don't always agree with him, but Skill Up I think is a decent reviewer if you know who he is. He didn't like it because some of the things were just up to taste, and I didn't really count them. Like he said, like there's a disconnect. Like there's like the environment's themes like just sort of clash. They just switch real quick. You don't like get a sense of place. And I didn't care about that. But what I did, and he says the writing is bad and predictable, which is a little worrisome because when you look at this Bioshocky type thing, you want the writing to be good. But the biggest thing he said was that the open world between like the more, linear levels is terribly balanced where all the enemies get revived instantly. And you just end up wanting to run past everything. And that when he just started describing that, I'm like, oh, this legitimately sounds like something I don't want to deal with at all. So that was the big thing that it's poorly balanced, bullet spongy enemies in the open world,
That's
and
too
like there's
bad.
security and repair bots, and it's the best bet would be to just run away. Like I
Okay.
don't know, maybe it's a get good scrub thing for him, but I doubt that. And if he says that, like I would imagine I would also be frustrated. So yeah, and of course, yeah, the story being stupid is it's not good for something like that because I think that's pretty important for something
Mm.
Is this the
that's
Ken
that.
Levine one or no?
No. This is the one where there was like some silly controversy that it maybe like some Russians may be making money off of it.
Gotcha.
But in reality, the story predictably ends up being like it's pro Russia as much as like Bioshock 2 is pro America. So
Gotcha.
just peel off the first layer and it's like, oh, everything sucks because yeah. So but either way, that's a little disappointing. I mean, it's free on Game Pass. If I have time, I might still give it a look, but
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
I'll
it's
have
good.
time anytime soon. I have other stuff I want to do.
Yeah, if
happening
it's not worth
first.
your time, it's not worth your time. So it doesn't
Yep.
matter how much it costs. How about you,
Yep.
Tony? Did anything
So
plugging away?
this weekend I was actually away in Philly for the Magic convention in
Oh,
Philly, which
nice.
was nice. So I got to play a lot of Magic. Met up with some old friends, made some new ones. So played a lot of Magic. And apparently
Hmm.
I didn't get my fill of Magic because after I got home, I decided to try out Marvel Snap because everybody's been talking about it
Mm.
You're
still and stuff
don't
like
tell
that.
me you're hooked. Are you
The
Yeah,
hooked?
free version of Midnight Suns.
Mm.
yeah.
No.
I do like it in the way that the games are so fast that
Mm.
like even though like I want to win, like losing isn't the worst thing on there. You're just like damn, okay, whatever and stuff
It's
like that.
almost more about completing your missions than actually winning.
Right, and I feel like I've played some people where I'm just like that is a suboptimal move. Like what are you doing here? But then I'm like maybe I'm just
Yeah.
completing a mission or something. Like I'm not gonna question it. But it is
Hmm.
fun. It's really the name maybe Snap. Maybe that's why it's called Snap.
Hmm.
And I do kind of like that gambling aspect where you're just like, yeah, I know I'm gonna win this one. Where like it
Hmm.
kind of makes you reward. You
Right. You
know,
forget you can, yeah, it's like I don't need this worry about this section or location. I can just focus on these two because like that one's gone and then each location can have different abilities or different effects that change the way the game will turn out and
yep.
stuff. So
And
yeah, that's pretty neat.
I was winning a very good amount early on. I got to like I think rank 30 now or something like that.
Hmm.
But I'm starting to fight people that have like a lot of cards that I don't have in my collection. So I just
Hmm.
read. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? This is the first time I've ever seen this card. Like, what the hell is this doing? And it's like, oh, and that feels bad to lose to. Whereas it's like,
Hmm.
and I guess I just have to get it
Right.
randomly or something. That is the part that I'm like, oh, well that feels bad a lot. So
Yeah, no, it's I think like the snappiness of the game really does help it because you can just, play a quick match and be done in 5 minutes. And
yep,
so it's nice. But yeah, I kind of just log in every day to get the free credit
free
thing and
credits.
then
Yeah,
Mm.
and that's pretty much it. That's like I have not like deck construction is I think really like the big draw for a lot of people, but for me, I don't want to do that. Like I net deck usually if I'm gonna like with Hearthstone, I was net decking everything, and then with this, I'm like, oh, is there something like I have none of these cards, so that doesn't matter. I still have my same basic deck. I think like I only switched out one card maybe,
yeah.
and yeah, I think I'm only at like level 80 or something, but I know my one buddy was I talked to him about it when it first came out. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna try this out," and he's like, "Ah, this is dumb." A week later, he was like 500. I was like, "What the?" Like,
500
how do you
what?
have time for this? Like, level 500.
What? Oh my god, that's insane, dude.
Yeah, he did it like maybe it wasn't
Problem.
a week, but it was
Got a
probably like a
problem.
couple weeks or something. But it was like, dude, you are like he's like on it all the time. So I was
Need an
like, oh my
intervention.
gosh.
Yeah. But I respect it so
Um,
far. I'll keep up with it for a bit.
mhm. It's
See how it
weird
goes.
because like that, there's no like booster packs or anything. You're just kind of getting cards randomly. That's what I'm a little confused about, I guess. Um, because you get cards as you level up. You'll get a card here and there, and then you can buy cards, specific cards, from what I can see. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Mm.
it is what it is. But it's definitely quick and fun. So,
Yeah.
and the artwork is fun to like swap out and
Yeah,
change the
the
different.
variants and stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah, they get like guest artists to come in and create card art for it too, which is pretty neat.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Mhm. Yeah, so for me, I've been playing a little more Xenoblade 3. I got another character in the party, so having fun with that, just kind of looking for parts, building another more mechon, whatever.
Oh, the mech.
And
Okay, I know where you are.
with the kid.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, been doing that and it's, definitely, yeah, really enjoying the grind on it actually. So, whereas the other one is like, oh, get past all this. But here has been pretty fun. So,
Yeah.
yeah, other than that,
You're at that point where the combat and the class variety is going to start to really add like a lot of choice and customization to your
mhm.
party and stuff like that. So.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I like really thought was cool is you had all of the different characters and you can swap out the different things. So like I've been playing with Silvercoat. What I forget her name. I've been playing
Ethel.
with her. Ethel, yeah.
Oh yeah, she's
I've
one of
been
my,
playing.
I played her. I played her class almost the entire game.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun. So as soon as I was like, "Ah, I gotta try this one because it's so much.
I just
It's
love how just
so
like fast her autos are, and then when you land
Mhm.
like a hit, it just feels so good. You're like, yeah,
Right.
I'm doing
And then
awesome.
and you can like get the gems that speed up the interval
Yep,
between
yep,
them.
yep.
So yeah, it's good stuff so far. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. But yeah, let's get into some news. The it's the big thing that happened to, I guess not big thing, but the kind of stuff we were talking about it on Discord a little bit was that Microsoft announced that they have a 10-year partnership to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo's platforms. Um, they didn't specifically call it Switch. They said it to the Nintendo, right? So it's
Yeah,
like, um, this is, I guess, interesting because the first thing that I thought was like, do they have the right to do that? Like, I guess they do. Like, what's going on there?
it's such a weird, stupid thing, and like I said in this Discord, this is 100% just them trying to get credibility or like PR free rep, for their audience and stuff like that. It's like, look, we're going to be bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo system gamers, and that's a good thing. We're good guys.
I
We're
mean, as
good
far
guy
Call of
Microsoft.
Duty is not on the Switch, right? So,
Nope,
No.
but it doesn't need to be on Switch. Like,
no, no, I'm just saying, to me, like what it sounds like more is that they're looking towards what Nintendo's next system is, not necessarily
oh
this
yeah, one
system.
hundred percent. I mean, it'd absolutely be on the next Switch platform.
Right, whatever that is
Right.
called.
Switch two.
Switch 2, whatever.
Let's not fuck around anymore, Nintendo. Let's
Switch
just
U?
just
Swatch.
swooch, switch, swatch. Oh god,
Hmm.
that
Oh
sounds awful
man.
to say. Swatch. But yeah, like I don't know. This just really rubs me the wrong way. I wish Jim was here to talk about it because I'm just like, dude, like Nintendo gamers don't even like fucking care about Call of Duty. Like they never
Well,
really
I mean,
care.
the install base is so big; it's going to be a lot of people who do play it if it's available. I think it's not going to be a small amount, but so in the end, maybe the ends justifies the means here, if it happens this way. But who knows if it really will?
I
Because
guess the
they don't
other
they don't really have this yet, so it's kind of
the,
silly.
the other thing that it is, it's good to have more options for people, right? So
Sure.
that's always a good thing. So if this is a gateway to more cross pollination and stuff like that, that could be a good thing in the
But you
end.
don't need Microsoft to do this. You don't. Activision Blizzard could
I
just
know.
totally do this on themselves, and they just choose not to for whatever reasons. This could
Well, they
happen
haven't,
naturally
so
with the
I guess
Switch too. This could happen naturally with the Switch too. The
Maybe.
fact that Microsoft is saying this the day they are meeting with the European Council of whatever, it just screams like, oh, PR move, like easy PR
Mhm.
tactic. It's
Well,
just
it's
like
fair.
it's just
sure,
stupid.
but they still might
Mhm.
do it. So
Like I
Right.
said, again, it brings it to light, which is what, is helpful. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does seem conveniently timed.
oh, it's
Uh,
obviously that because again, they're talking about something that they don't control for real yet, but
mhm.
so it's obviously because of that they're saying this. So
Right,
whatever.
right. Let's keep it going here. Ubisoft has said that and confirmed that they'll be at E3 this summer, and they'll be bringing a
So
whole bunch
so
of stuff.
so E3 is the Ubisoft showcase this year.
Yeah, I guess so. I
Yeah.
mean, we know Microsoft,
They're
Nintendo, and
alone.
Sony are not going to be doing anything at E3. So Ubisoft's got the whole stage to themselves, unless EA, I guess, wants to join in there. But I think that's a good thing for them. They can kind of get the spotlight a little bit and show off some of the things that have been delayed so much.
So much.
Like
Uh,
almost everything that they've talked about has been delayed, and they mentioned they've had issues where they just had too much going on, and they couldn't juggle all of the different
that
games.
was it the pirate game.
Yes,
Black
Skull and
Yeah.
Bones, or
Skull and Bones. Yeah. I cannot believe it is still not out. Like, how bad is this game doing? Where they're like, because I remember talking
Well,
about
that's a
this game,
PS4 launch title, like Black Flag was on
right?
the
Because
the launch, and then they're like, "Oh, we should make a game with the
yeah,
pirate ships," and I
that's
was like,
exactly it. It was like Black Flag
"Well,
came out, everybody loved that, the ship sailing thing, and it's just
Yeah, I
like,
don't.
let's make a
And
game out.
I'll
Okay,
say this too. Here's my hot take for the episode. It's one of the most overrated things in gaming, the Assassin's Creed naval combat. I don't understand why people are so in love with that. It's rather boring in my opinion, but whatever.
oh, well, I mean, they're making a whole game out of it, and
Yeah,
you've
not
yet to
not
see it."
that
So,
appealing. Yep.
yeah. Moving along here. We got the developers didn't realize in Ragnarok spoiling puzzles would be such a
This is a
issue for
story.
people. I mean, that's it's
This is only an issue for people who don't like the God of War and Game of the Year conversations, in my opinion.
those
I
those
mean, I
those
think
Game of the Year
there's
conversations ended, buddy. We're in
Yeah, I
February
know,
now.
but that's when where this was brought up. Like no one cared about this until that started happening, and there's like, oh yeah, everyone's stupid in this
What?
game. Okay.
It started when the game came out. I literally watched two different streamers complain about it.
mm,
Okay.
I think that it could have been handled differently by the studio. They could have had that still, but maybe after failing like
Well,
10
well,
times or
that's what it
something.
says in the interview. It says the clock time or the timer in the game to trigger those responses was set too low, but
Hmm.
nobody had reported on it or anything
No.
before the game released. So they're like, oh.
Yeah.
And even the writers said, yeah, when we played the game, it was disappointing that they just spoiled the game for, or the puzzles
Mm,
for you.
but yeah.
It's like, oh well, there you go.
Well, hopefully they learn.
I feel like this is a silly nitpick a little bit. I don't feel like it was
Yeah, I
that
mean
big an issue for most people.
I
That's why the game
it probably
testers it
is.
didn't get reported in game testing, so that's how
Yes.
it went.
What's this Pokemon story, Tony?
Well, we're getting a Pokemon Day. It's every day or every year, same day, February 27th. And here's
Oh,
what we
sorry.
get.
Just to go back real quick, because Churro did mention he was complaining about it, and that definitely would have helped Churro to have a toggle. I think that would have been nice. If you notice it at first, you could just turn those
Yeah,
off. So that would have been
absolutely.
good.
Because
I totally agree.
like literally the one streamer, it's like they like went up to the platform and like somebody was like, I think it was phrased like, you need to turn the thing around, and he's just like, I didn't even turn my camera around. Like, I don't know what you're talking about yet. It's just okay. Anyway, the Pokemon Days where they announced the new Pokemon projects, games, etc. Last year they talked about Arceus and Scarlet Violet. Well, stuff like that. So this year probably going to be Scarlet Violet DLC. Probably got one or two minor Pokemon games. But the big thing that people are expecting is if you watch the trailer, it uses the Game Boy original games, Pokemon games, Red and Blue here, Red and Green in the East, characters and sounds, music. So they're speculating that maybe with the Game Boy coming to Nintendo Switch Online, we'll get those games on the system because on the docket is the Pokemon Stadium games coming out. And those games
Mm.
really are not enjoyable if you don't have the like your Pokemon to upload to Pokemon Stadium. It's kind of like
Hmm.
just, well, why would you ever fucking do that? Like that's not the draw or the appeal for that. So people are hoping we get both on the same day. Like, hey, you got Red and Blue on Game Boy, and then the Stadium games on the 64 with the ability to upload your Pokemon from the Game Boy save state or whatever
Hmm.
it's going to be. So that's my personal guess too. I think makes the
It
most
makes
amount of sense.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You play those games back in the day, Mike?
Oh,
Um, my brother made me play it a little bit because I didn't
he
care about
made
Pokemon,
me.
but he did. Well, I mean, like he's just like, oh, I'm like, fine, and I found it more interesting than a typical Pokemon thing. But I was using the default level 50s, and he was uploading his guys who were normally not that high, so I was just killing them. even though I didn't know what I was doing. So it was bullshit. But that's what he gets.
I don't think. I mean, I never really played the Stadium games before.
It's just a 3D like sort of one-on-one like fighting
Hmm.
almost version of like a encounter in Pokemon.
Right. No, I do remember thinking, oh, this is so cool, like Pokemon on Nintendo 64 and like
I
3D and
mean,
all that
yeah,
stuff.
I mean it looked nice. It was cool to see these
Mm-hmm.
characters like fully realized there, but there's not much else to the game other than
No,
that.
that's what I remember mostly from them as well.
Yeah, it just made
But
it
that's
way easier to fight with friends and stuff like that with
mm,
the Pokemon. So
no, yeah, no, that's cool. That's nice. Well, Pokemon Day, Pokemon fans. And finally, in the news, we have a state of play announced, which is going to be taking place on Thursday,
Yeah,
and it is going to
soon.
focus on more of the third-party games coming to the PS5, some new PlayStation VR 2 games, and the headliner would be Suicide Squad Kill Justice League.
Oof.
So, what are
Yeah.
you expecting, Mike? This one is for
Well,
you. This
they
is
said they said it's going to be like roughly 15 minutes, and they got a lot of work to do in those 15 minutes because the Arkham series is maybe my favorite series of all time, and Kevin Conroy is my favorite Batman of all time, and all that still, I am very close to just not wanting to play this game because of everything I've seen so far. So they got some work to do. This
really,
just still looks
is
like,
there a possibility you don't get this day one?
yeah, I might wait a little.
oh, Mike.
I
No,
might wait for
you got
reviews.
Gotham Knights day one. What are you talking about?
I didn't get that day one. I got it shortly thereafter because I had a little bit of gift card money burning a hole in my
I
virtual
could have
wallet.
sworn you were talking about it on the release week on the podcast.
It might have been that week. It wasn't day one.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Is there a realistic scenario where you don't buy Suicide Squad week one?
Um, yeah, I am waiting
Okay.
for reviews for this one because
Mm.
I don't see the appeal of it being like a team shooter
All right.
at
Well,
all.
what's your threshold? 75, 80, Metacritic?
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
think you got it, Mike. You got it, especially if Conroy's in
I know.
there.
Well, that was the thing with that. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to get this with Conroy, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's just there's zero hype for me for this game right
Mhm.
now.
the the one.
I need to be sold on it, and it's ridiculous that I need to be sold on it for everything I've said
Yeah.
going in, but I
What?
don't.
Yeah. What? I guess the question would be, what would they be able to show you at this point that would get you excited? Because that's the thing is, I think we've seen enough to get an idea of what the game is. Now it's like at
I
this
mean, we
point, let's
haven't
get
seen
the
that
game
much of
out.
this though, but we know they all have guns, which is sort of boring and stupid. We know that it can be cooperative or, sort of Marvel Ultimate Alliance style, which isn't a bad thing, where you control one character and everyone else is AI. But I don't know. The writing maybe needs to be a little less cringy. Like, I just not down for like that Suicide Squad style bullshit right now. um,
No, I
and
can
I don't
understand
know.
that.
And just better portrayals of these Justice League characters who you're going to fight, who you know, you wish you could play as.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I'm interested to see how they handle the Brainiac, takeover of the Justice League and all that stuff, because I think it could be interesting, but it is more unfortunate that you're not getting to play as the characters that you're hoping to play as.
yeah,
Instead, you have to play as
it
these
just seems like
side characters.
they workshopped the idea of maybe doing a real Justice League game, realized they couldn't pull it off. They just made everyone these sort of shooty
Hmm.
characters. Although with King Shark, who isn't a shooty character, but he is in this
Yeah.
game.
But
Um,
yeah, I mean,
I don't know. There's just so much
yeah,
conceptually that's
oh,
disappointing about this. And we saw that leak from a while back with all the currencies and battle
mm,
pass bullshit. And it's just like they got a lot of work to do. This
yeah.
2 days from now, so we will see.
At least half of it's
Yeah.
going to be
Um,
about the online battle pass and
Oh boy.
currency, and I guarantee you that's it.
I can't imagine them
It can enhance your game.
focusing on that too much, other than just sort of like trying to talk people off ledges based on that leak.
Mm.
No,
But I don't know.
they're leading
The
into
the
it.
the recent stuff has been so weird too. Even the little teaser attached to this with just Flash
Mhm.
being very Ezra Miller
No,
in
I
this,
saw
it
that
looks
too. I was like, ooh,
and
they're trying to
and
like lean on the Flash movie. That's
Yeah.
and just more just sky beams and just things looking ugly. I'm like, ugh, I don't know, man. Like again, if I'm actively playing something else when this is coming out, then I can see myself
waiting.
missing it even
Okay.
if it's
Yeah.
bad, but
Okay.
we'll
That's
see.
fine. The one thing I didn't mention it, I don't think, on the podcast when they revealed Kevin Conroy was the voice actor on the Game Awards. I hope they're not advertising or using for advertisement for him for being like just a small role. Like if it's just Batman as a boss character and that's it, I would feel like that was kind of disingenuous of them to like really be like, oh,
I
it's him in the game. It's like, yeah, you're right, but it's like not prominent. So like, I don't know.
I kind of feel like it is going to be that way, especially since the weird footage they showed didn't have any actual speaking in it
Yeah,
Mm.
either. So that
Although I
was
could
weird too. When you
see,
when you see how that was cut together with the random finger cutting with flash, like I don't know what the fuck they're doing, honestly.
yeah.
Nothing they have shown so far has inspired any confidence whatsoever.
I mean, I guess I could see them like rescuing Batman and him being part of the
Well,
game a little bit more, just because it is Rocksteady and Batman was their
yeah,
character, and he has
and
no powers, so it's like not as
yeah, I mean,
threatening.
wasn't he supposed to be dead?
charitably, you could picture a thing where because it's a follow up. They say it's in the universe. They had that trailer where they threw them in Arkham for no real reason. Um, uh, you would want them to sort of explore the sort of mystery of what he's been doing since the end of Arkham Knight, because he did his whole fake his own death thing. Spoiler alert from like a 8-year-old game.
Did he
But in
just
that,
fake
at
it?
the
I forget the ending.
I mean, you don't know for sure unless you do the 100%. Then you see like the nightly apparition in an extra scene where it's just something
Mm,
scary. It doesn't necessarily mean it's him, but I don't think Batman is going to murder suicide himself and Alfred ever. So, um, my
yeah.
my interpretation of it was always that he faked his own death. Sort of Dark Knight Rises style as well. So I don't know, and hopefully they can explain that, and that would be the main thing that would maybe draw me in is just the epilogue of the Arkham Batman story. If is he in the Justice League full time now? Is he out of Gotham? Is he a secret? Like
Mm.
what's going on there? So that would be maybe the only thing that would grab me. I mean, hopefully the gameplay can too, but it's just not the genre I'm looking for. But I've been hopping genres lately anyway to do things unexpected for me, so I could see that happening if it's any good. But it's just the concept, the premise is just not what I'm looking for from this, and it's just there's an air of disappointment to everything about this game so far, and it hasn't you know undone that yet. Hopefully, it can with this 15 minutes or when it comes out. Who knows?
Well, it's not gonna be 15 minutes of Suicide Squad. We're gonna get some other stuff shown, obviously PSVR stuff and a couple other third-party games.
Speaking of
I know
PSVR, I think that's dead on arrival. Like I hear no hype on that thing at all this
problem with
time.
it is it's so expensive. I mean, if it was like $300, maybe, but it's like almost $600.
I
That's
don't know,
just
VR,
ridiculous.
man. VR is just. Is it a technical thing that VR games are generally short, or is it just that no one's tried to make like a full-fledged game?
No, I think that it's just hard to make a game because like the fatigue factor kicks in way too soon, and then it's just hard to make a full game because they haven't figured it out yet. Like, I mean, I guess
Like,
Alex was supposed to be
so
pretty good as
yeah,
a
I
full
don't.
game.
I need to
Well,
watch like a playthrough of that or something, Half-Life
I
Alex,
just
to see
think people are
how it
more
goes.
in the phase of what, that whole
I mean,
Malcolm deal. It's like nobody thought about if they could or should.
right,
So
but
if
I
they
mean, the
could,
thing is too is that you don't develop an entire game for specifically VR because the install base is so small. I mean, even if you could release it on all the platforms without it having to do, a lot of individual tuning because, all the platforms are different. I mean, what's your cap here? 5 million VR units? 10 million? I don't even know,
yeah,
right?
Total,
Exactly. Total, right?
It's like right. It's like the 1% of the 1%.
Right. So, like, what's your upper limit here? Like, oh, you want to sell 1 million units? Like, you're gonna sell the 1 in every 10 owners the game, so it's not feasible to make a long, meaty $100 million plus AAA game, just if Sony's not even doing it themselves, like there's no way a third party's gonna do it,
right?
No, 0%.
Well, I don't know how long that Horizon thing is. It might be the meatiest thing there, the Call of the Mountain thing, but
yeah,
we'll
see. I mean, we'll see. I just think
it's
too expensive.
It still screams experience, not game to me.
And again, like you can't share. That's the other thing that's hard with VR is you can't really share the experience. Like girlfriend reviews not doing, video stuff. Where I just don't see that kind of channel doing things where it's like, oh, someone's in a headset and then they're just gonna be watching the TV screen of you playing the game.
Yeah, I remember
Not the same.
I remember when Jim had the first one. He was like, you guys were all just like watching him play or.
Right.
It just sounds so depressing to me. Like,
yeah, it's unless you're just in your room by yourself anyway, and then you're doing it online. It just, I don't know. I thought there could be a lot of potential for VR, but it just hasn't hit yet. We'll see. It's the tech. I don't think the tech is there yet.
No, tech and price need to come down, or tech needs to improve. Price needs to come down, and we're far from that. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be another decade.
Yeah, at least. But yeah. And then we just had a Nintendo Direct where we got a shadow drop. Does Sony follow suit with something? And what could that be? Any ideas, Tony? You mentioned that first.
Yeah.
You want to call this one out?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what they would even have.
I honestly can't think of anything other than just adding something to like their PS Plus catalog or some nonsense.
I gotta wish it to an existence, but Bloodborne PC. Just shadow drop Bloodborne on PC. Yep. No real bells or whistles. No remaster. Just hey, it's on PC. It can run at 60 frames per second. There you go.
Yeah, that would be pretty neat. But
I would love it. I would play through the entire game again, platinum it all over again. Yep.
All right. So yeah, that's gonna do it, I think, for the Gamecast, I should say. So thanks for joining us. We are here every Tuesday night with a movie cast, Gamecast, going live normally around 8 o'clock. Definitely check us out live if you can. Join the conversation. But if you can't, make sure you hit that notification bell and subscribe so you know when our videos come out. And then follow us up on the YouTubes. We're there the next day if you can't catch us live. And on all the podcast apps, Apple Podcasts type of things. We're there as well. And you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. All the things. But until next week,
we will... Sorry. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Do you guys want some semi-breaking news?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you can't just tease us out now.
Yeah, we're teased with the semi.
So I totally forgot this is happening, but Evo 2023 just announced their lineup for this year. So I thought this might be fun to talk about. So
definitely,
I'll start in what I expect to be reverse hype order. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 still there.
Nice. Okay.
Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate there. Melty Blood type Lumina, which I think is an indie Japanese fighter, will be there. King of Fighters 15, Tekken 7, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Guilty Gear Strive, and Street Fighter 6 will be there. So
6. I mean, had to be right. Yeah. When is Evo happening?
June.
Okay. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I'm guessing we might get some Street Fighter 6 Thursday. Maybe.
I imagine Capcom will want to be there.
I
feel like you got to show. I feel you got to show Street Fighter. You got to show Final Fantasy 16 every single chance you can get from now until release. So.
Yep. All right. Well, yeah, that's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing that right before we head out. But again, like I said, hit us up. Catch us live Tuesdays, 8 o'clock for the movies, and around 9-ish, 8:30, depends how they go. Gamecast.
And next week we'll have
All
the
right.
spoiler cast for.
And we will have a spoiler class for, Quantumania, which the three of us, not Mike, not you,
No, I'm
Mike,
not. Yeah, no,
but
never.
Jim will be joining us again next week, and we will talk more spoilers for that as well. So catch us then.